Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Time Spiled. We're here at our technically third review because we did the first three sets all in one. So we're looking at Labyrinth of Nightmare today ahead of our Labyrinth of Nightmare pack openings. So, you know the usual drill. We've got Grishnax back with us today, and we'll be going through the set. I'll give my opinions. Grishnax will either approve of what I say or will correct me, tell me that I'm completely wrong or that I'm missing something key. If it's something in the far future, I think that's okay for me not to know. But it's good to know ahead of time if there's anything that I should be keeping my eye out. And then we're going to look at the McDonald's promotional card pack because for fun, we will be opening some of those. And then Tournament Pack 3, which we'll be opening as soon as the next episode, actually. And I know there's at least something juicy in that pack that I really want to get my hands on. So, Grish, it's nice to have you back with me.
Glad to be here.
So you know the drill. We're going to start with the commons. I've had a chance to look at the set a little bit over the week, here and there in my breaks, but I didn't really look at every single card. There's a few that I know that are quite infamous, and it's right there in the opening four cards of the set. So I know one of these cards is notorious at this stage of the game, but it'll be interesting to see if anything else holds up. So yeah, without further ado, I still don't get how the cards are ordered. Let me just put it this way, because we've got like spells, then traps, then affect monsters, then more spells, then more effect. Like it just seems like there's not really a rhyme or reason. And I'm sure someone can tell me why they're ordered this way. It doesn't look like it's like maybe it's alphabetical within a certain category. Like is it continuous fields, continuous spells, continuous traps, affect monsters? Then it looks like it's equip field, but then there's more equip. Are they flip? Is that it? Is it all the flip monsters are
Looks like
together?
those are flip, yeah.
Okay. So never mind. There seems to be an order. I just disagree in how they are ordered because
Totally fair.
can't you
I'm on the
put?
same
Oh my
page.
gosh! All right, so let's look it out. We got the Dark Door. Only one monster can attack during each battle phase. So we were discussing about how one of the tenets that we're noticing in Yu-Gi-Oh is like when you fall behind this early in like these early Yu-Gi-Oh stages behind on like monsters on the field, and your opponent's able to like take yours out, but then they're going up to 2 to 3. It is so hard to come back from that. Is Dark Door actually playable? It doesn't look that great to me.
Uh, I believe it saw some play along with Vengeful Bog Spirit in the in
Mhm.
SEMA's progression series. Definitely season one, maybe season two.
Okay, because I remember Vengeful Bog Spirits because that really changes the
Yes.
math on how Yu-Gi-Oh monsters work. But I was wondering really if the limiting to one does enough. Yeah, okay, I could see us playing a copy or two, but it just feels like sometimes you'll play it and it'll really mess you up, sort of thing. So
I am not sure about it. I think if you're playing the Dark Door Vengeful Bog Spirit, you're probably playing a more controlling list anyway.
that's what
So
we.
like get forcing your opponent to only attack once per turn
Mhm.
is going to be beneficial if you're a less aggressive deck.
Cool. So we'll keep in mind for the Dark Door. We just
Yes.
brought up Vengeful Bog Spirit. I know this card's actually pretty decent. It really changes the math on how things work on a speed level. You know, monsters just simply cannot attack the turn they are summoned is actually kind of big. Um, it really gives you a lot of extra turns. And I know if you continue to pair it with future card Fairy Box here, like little by little, it gets really annoying to put pressure, I would say. So Vengeful
Yeah.
Bog Spirit is playable as far as I know, though obviously if you're on the beatdown on the aggro plan, you're not the one running this. But if your whole goal is to like stall up a bit, wall up a bit, control, then this seems like the card for me.
Exactly. Yes. I think that's a pretty fair assessment.
None of us have enough clowns, and no one has Swords of Revealing Light. So there's kind of like a little deck that I know was played in the progression series that we don't really have access to, but I will keep my eye on Dark Door and Vengeful Bog Spirit going forward. So Blind Destruction, I already read this one. I don't think this is playable.
Not really.
It's
It's too
just it's
random.
too random. It's all monsters on the field, and even though almost everything is like at 3 or 4, um, the chance that it rolls on that is just quite low. So it doesn't seem like it's worth a card. As cool as the artwork and the theme looks. The big one, Fairy Box. I know this card is good. I've seen it in Prague. I see how annoying it is When your opponent's monster declares an attack, you toss a coin, you call it. If you call it right, their attack becomes 0 until the end of the battle phase. And then you pay 500 life points, so you have to destroy this card on your standby, which is relatively cheap compared to some of the other cards like Mirror Wall that ask a lot more life points. But Fairy Box just seems really good, and it's a common, so I can expect us to get at least a few copies. Am I correct in that if you call it right, their attack becomes 0, they still continue that attack? So if
Yes.
they're attacking into one of your attack position monsters, they're just going to just lose their monster?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, this card
It's
seems really
kind of
good.
messed up.
Yeah, I expect this card to be on the short list of cards that will want banned if anyone pulls like a full play set and decides to go all out with it. So I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of brutal.
yeah, it
And
seems really brutal.
actually, on a related topic, I just want to say the thing that changes combat math is when monsters on your opponent's side either enter or leave the field.
Hmm.
So whenever a monster is summoned or destroyed or bounced or whatever, not on your side, only your opponent's side,
Hmm.
you can choose to redeclare.
Okay, that's really cool that that exists. So
Yes.
all right, so yeah, Fairy
But
Box
it also
and
means you can't really play around combat tricks because it's
mhm.
not like activating a quick play spell or a trap card
Okay.
gives that. So,
All right, good to know. We'll keep that in mind going forward. So yeah, right off the bat, out of these first four cards, three of them are decent. One of them being like really really good. So, Grave Robber's Retribution. During each of your standby phases, inflict 100 points of damage to your opponent's life points for each of your opponent's monsters that have been removed from play. By removed from play, that means like banished or
yeah, that's banished. I don't
okay,
know why they didn't update the text,
okay.
but
So
that is banished.
hmm, I could see someone building something like super gimmicky with like this and those cards that we pulled that do nothing but like banish 5 cards from someone's graveyard, and then they've got 5, so it hits for 500. But this seems too little, too finicky. I don't think we'll be seeing Grave Robber's Retribution.
I don't think it's playable at all. Like,
Yeah.
it just requires so much setup.
Hmm.
And even if you somehow manage to banish 10 monsters, like that's still only 1,000 damage a turn.
Yeah,
That's a very slow clock.
that's not enough. Jam Defender. When an opponent's monster declares an attack on a monster you control, you can target a revival jam you control. Switch the attack target to that target. This is like shift, but only for revival jam, and it doesn't also affect spell or trap, from what I'm understanding. And revival jam is like this one super rare. Which like I know it's a sticky monster, but the chances that we get it are low. I don't assume Jam Defender is going to be all that good. I
I
know
think
that
that's a fair
it's
assessment.
I know that it's continuous, so like it's not a one use like shift, but so like if you can somehow build the jam deck, only your jams get attacked.
Jam
So
is a theme they tried here, and it
yeah,
really didn't
it
work.
doesn't feel great. Skull Lair. Remove from play any number of monster cards in your graveyard to destroy a face-up monster on the field whose level is equal to the number of cards you removed from play. Um, if I'm super low on removal, I could maybe consider like one copy because it's continuous, right? So you can keep doing that.
Yeah.
Um,
Also worth noting that trap cards, when they have effects like this,
mhm.
are spell speed 2, even if you'd reuse them.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
It's very weird, but yeah.
So the fact that it's continuous is the one thing that's making me think maybe this isn't horrible, because like
Yeah,
you might have enough
especially in
monsters that
grindier
die.
games.
Yeah, for grindier games. And we've had a few where you will eventually get to like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you get to 7, that's maybe you hit a 4, maybe you hit a 3, but it's never going to hit anything big. Um, I know Gravity Bind's in play. Um, as of last as a Pharaoh's servant, so I know that maybe someone's running a bunch of threes around, but still seems situational, but definitely not running like the full playset, I think, of this thing. Emperor's Holiday just negates all equip cards on the field for continuous. We don't have side decks in our format, but like one of the
I don't
math
think it's worth playing. Equip cards are still too beneficial.
mm-hmm. Like I would
Like,
I'm still running equip cards, so
yeah. I think equip cards are just too beneficial to play
mm-hmm.
right now. Like, there's very much an equip meta going on.
Yeah, so one of the things we realized was Tributing is not so great, obviously, because when you go down or you go down for two for one to get like a big 2700, let's say, with something like Wing Weaver, Dark Magician, you can get the same effect by just slapping any old 18k, 1800 with a Malevolent Nuzzler, and bam, you've built yourself a Dark Magician that hasn't actually cost you like tribute. So, and it doesn't break your deck quite as much because it works with any of your monsters, and it's almost like you special summoned it. So equips are still going to see a lot of play. I still have Malevolent Nuzzlers in my deck and whatnot, so Rush Recklessly. So I'm not sure I want to be turning off my equip cards at this point. Tornado Wall. I don't think any of us are playing the Umi deck here. So activate only while Umi is on the field. While Umi is face up on the field, you take no battle damage from attacking monsters. If someone builds the Umi deck, this seems like the kind of card where it's like your opponent can't kill you unless they can take out your field spell or your trap card. And at this stage, we don't have a lot of removal for that, but it seems a little niche and it seems hard to pull off because if you don't have Umi, this cannot be activated and you're kind of just staring at a dead card. And Umi by itself, like we don't have any of the better Umis, right?
That's correct.
So
Yes.
OG Umi is kind of wimpy as a field spell.
Very true.
Like, yeah, I could see going seven colored fish go up to 2k aggro, right? Because I think it only increases by 200. I know Umi doesn't increase by a lot. So I
I
don't
think it's
think,
only 200.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
two
think
or 300.
Tornado Wall's doing much here. But I think I remember this card from like Playground years back when like cards like a Legendary Ocean were around. So,
Right.
um, yeah, but I don't think I'll be playing it anytime soon. But it's something maybe to keep in mind for the future. So, but I don't remember seeing anyone play it Prague series, so maybe it's not doing so much. All right, let's move into these effect monsters. We've got Amazoness Archer, which is tribute two monsters to inflict 1,200 damage to your opponent. It's like a cannon soldier type thing, right? You just
Yeah, more or less, which is why it's banned in the OCG.
yeah. So, I mean, 1,200 damage is not nothing, and if you can get enough cards that kind of like get floaty, I can see something
I
being
don't think
useful
it's
here,
worth
but
it,
I don't
honestly.
think right now there's no way that I can build this deck. But I don't know if ever there's a world where you can actually generate enough special summoned or tokens or it's a bit of a shame because it's the kind of card that I would love to build around, just the idea of like throwing recruiter or floater after floater into this thing, but tributing two monsters is a lot. Like you can tribute itself though, right? You could tribute it and another
Yes.
monster to kind of close off an extra 1,200 damage. I could see that getting someone, but I don't know. It seems expensive
I don't
for
think it's worth it, honestly. Just like, especially at this stage in the game, this is something probably to keep in mind for the future for
mhm,
decks that can special summon a lot of monsters very
mhm.
efficiently.
We'll keep it in our back
Uh,
pocket.
but for now, it's not
Okay.
anything.
So I know there's a series of spirit monsters in Labyrinth of Nightmares, and they cannot be normal summoned or set, but you special summon them by removing um, either. I think this one's one water from your graveyard. Garuda is one. There's the light one is two light monsters from your graveyard, and then you get to special summon. So I would actually keep an eye on these. I'm not sure how actually powerful they are, but it just
They are
feels
all
like
nuts. You should
they
play
feel
them.
good.
I,
My
I don't
one,
know if you want to play all of them in the same deck, but
mm,
all of them are very playable.
yeah, I
Soul of
would.
Purity and Light is a beast as well, just because it makes combat significantly harder for your
Mhm.
opponents.
My one,
Uh,
yeah, you can't run all of them because again, it's hard to
yeah.
get all the attributes going. But I mean, it's nice to know that we have some more stuff that can sort of break that parity on only one summon. And like, this is still a 1,600 attacker. Garuda is a 1,600. Like, Soul is a 2k, right? Which is why you need to banish two. And all
Yes.
your monsters, your opponents get smaller, right? So, they're quite
Yeah.
good. And Aqua's
I
got
played
like,
Soul of Purity and Light in Light Sworns actually much later down the line,
yep,
and as
like
a one of, it was phenomenal.
Lightsworn's mill a lot, right? Or I guess in this case
That
it's
is Light
excavate.
Sworns are all about milling, so it just slotted into the deck super well. I
Okay.
don't think I would have played more than one, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, just and then once you get to XCs as well,
Mm-hmm.
they are level fours that can be special summoned pretty trivially.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, so
Okay, we'll keep an eye on these. And Aqua Spirit's
yeah,
cool because it can change a battle position, so it does a little more than just being a 1,600. So All
Yep.
right, keep an eye on the spirits. For some reason, there doesn't seem to be all of them. Like I looked through, and Dark doesn't seem to get one unless I missed it. But
Doesn't look like Dark gets one. I don't know if they ever get one.
sad because Dark is usually where most of the good stuff is right now in terms of like my Mystic Tomato. So we'll see. Anyway,
Very true, yeah.
Crimson Sentry. It's a 1500 4-star. You can tribute this face-up card to return one of your monsters destroyed as a result of battle during this turn to the bottom of your deck. It all read fine until it said bottom of your deck.
Yep.
And
It's pretty
then and
unplayable.
now I don't care about it anymore. Yep. So Cure
I will
Mermaid.
say one
Oh, yep. Go
to go
ahead.
back to the spirit for just 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
It's worth noting that they can only be special summoned
Yep.
through their methods.
Yep.
You
You can't
can't
normal
special
summon or
summon.
set. Yep.
Yeah,
And they can only be special summoned by their
by their
effect.
effects.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, like they seem to fall off a bit. Like I don't remember seeing a lot of these in later episodes because I think you just eventually get better archetype based like special summons. But at this stage, they're interesting. So.
Yes.
Cure Mermaid. As long as this card remains face up on your side of the field, you increase your life points by 800 points during each of your standby phases. It's a 1500 for 4. I don't see myself playing this. It's going to get whacked by a Jirai Gumo and then I'll be sad. So,
Yeah, that's pretty fair assessment.
Dancing Fairy is nice. That is a 1700 attacker. As long as this card remains in face up defense position on your side of the field, you increase your life points by 1000, but it's only got 1000 defense. So this one's already looks better than Cure Mermaid, but I don't think I'm playing it anyway. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm at the point where I need like wind aggro and I need a density of 1700 wind attackers, maybe, but like I'm not playing it really for its defensibility. So, and I think
True.
we've already got Sky Scout at like multiple copies, so I don't think Dancing Fairy is going to do all that much. So
I
Dreams.
think I forgot to mention this, but Sky Scout was originally named Harpy's brother.
Okay, that's what I remembered. Okay,
Yeah.
it's funny that like I had this image of it being called that. I guess it was renamed because it didn't want
They
to
didn't
be.
want it in the archetype for some reason.
Yeah, that's always funny when there's the renaming happens. So, Dream Sprite. It's a plant, not a fairy apparently. Okay, a light plant. It's got when attacked by your opponent's monster, select another one of your monster cards and designate it as the attack's target. Then calculate damage. This okay, so this actually seems kind of funny because like if you can get something really big that nothing can get through, Dream Sprite can just keep throwing things at that, and then this becomes a hard to kill, like potentially a tribute. But I still don't think it's particularly good, right?
It really isn't, because
Okay.
the other thing is if your only monsters are like Dream Sprite and Jiraigumo,
Yeah.
they don't have to attack.
Yeah.
There's no incentive.
Okay. So,
Like, it's just kind of bad.
all right. Rip Dream Sprite. Fairy Guardian. Tribute this face-up card to return a spell card sent to your graveyard by your opponent's card effect. Sounds great to the bottom of your deck. Sounds bad. So it's Crimson Sentry, but even smaller, and it only puts spells. And
And
only
it's,
if they were
yeah, it's
sent by your
just bad.
opponent's card effect. So it's not even if you've used it. So you can't like recycle a spell you might want to tutor up again. So it's yeah. Goodbye, Fairy Guardian. So here's the next spirit. It's Garuda, the Wind Spirit. This one's good. Can't be normal summoned or set. Only special summon or remove and play one wind monster. And then during your opponent's end phase, you can select a face-up monster your opponent controls and change its battle position. So, yeah,
Very good effect. It makes the defense position deck that you've been playing
well, I'm
significantly harder along with Aqua Spirit.
because this episode is coming out after we're playing tomorrow. I can already confirm that I'm not on the defensive plan because people have found like noblemens of crossouts and stuff, and being face down defense is starting to look pretty scary.
Right.
So I'm going more for an all in aggro sort of thing tomorrow. So we'll see if it works out. But yeah,
Okay.
Garuda is great. It's special summonable. It's wind, so I like it. It's got 1600 attacker, so you can't get it out with either like flying Kamakiris, right? But I think it can only special summon by.
Yeah.
So does the fact that the card that these spirits say can only be special summoned by, does it mean you can't even special summon them through other means?
That is correct.
Oh, okay. So
If something says you can only special summon it by
Okay.
whatever the effect is,
okay,
you
Okay.
have to special summon it by that effect.
okay, that'll be important. I'm sure I'll mess that up one time if I didn't ask.
Yeah.
So all right, good to know. So yeah, Garuda good, Aqua Spirit good. Hysteric Fairy is an 1800 light attacker, which is great. And then tribute two monsters to increase your life points. We're not playing it for the effect. We're playing it because it's an 1800 light monster, I guess.
Exactly.
We
That's
we
all it
need
needs to be.
we need more of
It also
those.
has low enough defense that Witch can fetch it, but I think Witch can fetch other
Ooh, that's true. That's
1800s.
true. That's true. So yeah, because now it's like Seven Colored Fish and Sky Scout are the main 1800s, I think, right now. I don't think we've really picked up many others, but I'm sure there will be more in this set and future sets. So Hysteric Fairy adds itself into that pile. Lady Panther. So this is all like I like all this kind of cycle about like tributing itself for extra effects. Like you can see what the theme was in Labyrinth of Nightmare. Tribute this face-up card to return one of your monsters destroyed as a result of battle during this turn to the top of your deck. Reads better than Crimson Sentry, but probably still not good enough to play.
That's a fair assessment.
Like, I would hate to use my one normal summon, then tribute it, get something that died in battle, and had to be this turn to the top of my deck. So like I can't activate this during my opponent's turn, can I? Is there when it's a
Now,
tribute like this? Okay, so well.
if you could, it would say quick
Quick effect,
effect.
huh? Yeah, so it's what did you call it? Speed one or
Spell speed 1,
spell speed
yes,
one?
which is sorcery speed.
Yeah, we're not playing Lady Panther, unfortunately. Mario Kutai. During your opponent's turn, when your opponent activates a spell card as a quick effect, you can tribute this card, negate the activation. If you do, destroy it. Like, most of that reads great, but then it's a 900/900. And I'm afraid they're just going, and it has to be face up, right? To use the quick effect.
Yes.
So it won't survive an attack if I'm putting it in face down defense. And if I'm putting it in face up attack, they're just going to like smack it for damage and then play their spell card kind of thing. So
That's more or less my assessment as
seems a
well.
little niche. Such a shame. This art is like fantastic too. Like creepy skull, but it's an aqua. Like it looks great. Um, like the effect reads well. Like it's the kind of thing you like, right? Quick effect, tribute, negate, destroy, all sounds great, and then just the body doesn't hold up. We've already talked about
Exactly, yeah.
yeah, we've talked about Soul of Purity and Light. So it's a 2K 6-star, but you special summon it by removing 2 lights. Like you said, it's going to get really strong with once you get into the whole chaos, light sworn, everything. I'm sure this card
I
finds a
will say
home.
Lightsworn comes a lot later than the Chaos stuff.
Okay, well, we'll eventually hit both. I know we'll want to get lights anyway. So again, if we get a playset of Hysteric Fairies, the light density starts creeping up, and then not only is it a 2K, monsters your opponents control just lose 300 attack during their battle phase only, right? So they're smaller when they're attacking. So
Yep.
any 2200 becomes now a 1900, and that's not enough to get through Soul of Purity and Light. So let's keep an eye on this one. And right off the bat, we're at Spirit of Flames. So I really like this one because it's not only a 1700, it gains 300 attack during your battle phase, so it actually attacks as a 2K attacker for a 4-star, and it only needs one fire monster. The issue is like the fire monsters that are aggressive right now are just all 1700s, right? Like we found the fire soldiers, I think, either number, oh, I forget what they're called, number one and
Or
number
Fire
two.
Soldiers.
Yeah, okay. So we'll see, but it's another spirit, something to keep in mind. Forgiving Maiden, tribute this face-up card to return to your hand one of your monsters destroyed as a result of battle this turn. So, interestingly enough, this one's a 2K defender and is a light, so like that's the part I care about it more than anything else. And
I think this one is the most playable out
yeah,
of all of
okay,
them.
that's what I was thinking because like at least
I
it goes
don't know
back to
how
your
playable it
hand.
is in general, but
I
if you were to play any of them, it would be this one.
Yeah, Rock Spirit, 1700, can't be normal summon the whole thing. This one's Earth, and increase the attack of this monster by 300 points during your opponent's battle phase. So that to me is slightly worse than during yours, but it's fine, right? It goes up to 2000 and it's special summon. Like that's what matters. And
Yeah.
Earth right now, we've got a lot of Earth going around between like Jiraigumos and rats and stuff. So I'm sure we'll be keeping an eye on the sort of spirit cycle. And yeah, there's not a dark one because Zombira the
The
Dark is
Rock
not
Spirit
it.
actually saw some competitive play much later on.
Oh wow, okay.
Uh, Not because of it, but because I believe there was a monster that cared about the number of banished Earths.
Mm,
So you played this and
there
some
you
other
go.
stuff that banished Earths to summon themselves.
Yeah, there you go. Unfriendly Amazon. It's a 2K 4-star attacker. You can tribute one of your monsters on the field, excluding it during each of your standby phases. If you do not, this card is destroyed. That seems a little punishing. I think we've had cards before that are like, hey, keep tributing to keep me around, and they ended up not being great.
That's a pretty fair assessment. I think this one's about the same.
And the fact that it destroys itself, it's like a one-shot 2K attacker, but if you have other stuff, it will eat them because you do not have the option to tribute Unfriendly Amazon. It has to be another monster. So
Yeah.
not super high on this one, even with the nice 2K attack. Zombira the Dark is a 2100 attacker for 4, but it cannot attack your opponents directly, and if it destroys a monster by battle, it loses 200 attack. This one I would play, though.
Yes, this is very good.
Okay, because I'm like, okay, it can't attack your opponents directly. That's fine. It'll just clear up the house, and it's a 2100, and then it goes to a 1900, which is still huge, and that's like not even counting equips and other stuff. So Zombira, very good. So
Quick note here. This was in the manga before Duel Monsters took over. There was a plot involving Zombira
no way.
as
Okay.
a character where someone dressed up as a superhero called Zombira.
Oh hey, well there we go. I love the trivia. I'm really happy that you've got some of that because I would not have remembered that, and I had read them like a long time ago. All right, we're hitting the equip spells. I've already read some of these. Cyclone Laser, I'm actually not going to bother reading the rest because Gradius is unplayable, so I don't want a card that just equips the Gradius.
Very fair.
This does not look like some. This is very much pack filler because Gradius is this like vanilla. It's like a vanilla. Is it even? Is it not a common? Is it like a rare or something? No,
I
right?
don't think
Or is it? I
so.
think it was in the previous set actually. Because it's not
That sounds right.
in this set. Yeah, I think it was in the last set. It was like the spaceship. Anyway, that's nice that they're like, hey, play this on your Gradius. It gets 300 attack points and other
I think they
stuff.
wanted to advertise Gradius because Gradius is another property owned by Konami
Oh,
as a
okay. Well,
shmup.
it's a shame that it's unplayable. Dragonic attack, equip only to a warrior. It now becomes a dragon type and increases attack and defense by 500. Cute, but probably still falls beneath the other equipment that we have at for now. You know, we've already got Malevolent Nuzzler and Dark Amulet, Black. I forget what it's called. The other amulet that's increases by 500. Like we've
Yep.
already got
This
that.
just isn't worth it.
Akibio Drakmord. First of all, awesome name. It's a better paralyzing potion, right? Equip monster
Yeah,
can attack,
basically.
and then you destroy it at the end of its controller's second turn, and then it goes back to your hand.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's great.
I will play
I
Akibio
would play this
Drakmord.
over Paralyzing
Oh,
Potion.
absolutely. I could only hope to pull multiple copies. Okay, Lightning Blade. Interesting.
800 attack is a
So
lot, but
800 is a lot, but you have to be warriors. It gives more than Malevolent.
yes.
And I love that it's just all water monsters lose 500. This is like definitely the kind of card design that we tell people off in Magic for being like, this card's lightning. It's makes blue cards work. Like it's so funny because like it's very much like you can tell it's a very dated sort of like mentality of how people design cards, right? Like designed to the name or to the art. But if you're playing a warrior deck and your opponent's on 7 colored fish, now they're 1300 attackers. I could see if someone really pulls out all the warriors. Zombira's a warrior. I don't know. I'm saying there could be something.
I don't
um.
think it's playable, honestly.
Oh, okay. Even though
Like,
the
it's very funny. It's very funny.
800
And
feels big, I'll keep it in mind. If it's probably not on the good list, but this is the kind of card that I read. I'm like, this is cute. I want to give my thing a 800. It's no Akibio Drakmord, but we'll keep that in mind. Scroll of Bewitchment. Wow, you select an attribute. Change the attribute of the equipped monster to the one you select. This isn't playable, right? Like you don't.
worthless.
Okay.
Absolutely
All
worthless.
right. Fusion Gate. So while this card's on the field, the turn player can fusion summon a fusion monster from the extra deck by banishing. So it's like a field spell that just permanently lets you do polymerization, right?
Yes.
But it also lets your opponent do it. So,
Like, how I would put it right now, this doesn't matter.
okay. Does it ever
This is
matter?
a card that may be relevant in the far future.
Okay. Keep
And
you in
that's
mind,
only a
though.
maybe.
We'll keep you
Like
in
right
mind,
now,
Fusion
fusions are
Gate.
terrible.
I really wanted to try a fusion deck for this week's for Pharaoh's Servant, but I just couldn't get the density to work just because I wanted to do it for the fun of it. So maybe in the future we'll see what I pull. All right, we're back into flip effect. So now it's Fire Sorcerer. Flip, randomly select 2 cards from your hand, remove them. That sounds horrible. To inflict 800 points. I don't want to do this.
Nope, it's bad.
All right,
I don't think anything else needs to be said.
Lady Assailant of Flames. It's flip, banish the top 3 cards of your deck to inflict 800 damage to your opponent. That's better. Like,
Still not really worth it.
still, yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Um, Summoner of Illusions. Flip, you can tribute one other monster, and if you do, special summon a fusion monster from your extra deck, but destroy it during the end phase of this turn. So this one seemed kind of neat. I'm sure it's too situational, but it feels like this is one of the ones where, because it doesn't have like a level cap, you can just flap in some huge fusion monster. Like once we get to like the really nuts ones, like the 5-headed dragons or stuff that are like 5k attackers, if you do this during your turn, right, you flip and but of course obviously it has to survive the your opponent's turn. It's kind of cute that you can just pull something out and do one big swing with it. It's
I
probably not
will
great.
say I tried to make this work in my prog series, and I just couldn't.
This is the one I
It
was looking
looks
at.
like something that could be really good if you pulled it off,
It's just
but
flip monsters are so hard to. I mean, you know what? This is the kind of thing that you run with, like we were saying, Vengeful Bog Spirit, Fairy Box, and then you. No, that wouldn't work because monsters can attack the
no.
turn they are summoned. Wow, you can't even shell yourself up. It'd have to be like some wacko gravity bind. You can't get into me, Fairy Box, Prey. Yeah, it seems a little too whims. You
It
know,
looks almost playable.
I'll keep you in mind, Summoner of Illusions, even if you're not playable. All right, Supply. Flip, return 2 fusion material monsters that were sent to the graveyard as a result of a fusion summon to your hand. I don't think this is going to see play because we're not playing fusions right now. So,
That's correct, yeah.
shame. I like the concept. 2 more fusions. It's so sad that all these fusions are just big vanillas, and by big, I don't even mean that big. 2200 and Saint Joan is 2800. So, but like Forgiving Maiden and Dark Lord Marie, I think one of those is in the higher rarities. We already saw the 2K Defender in Forgiving Maiden, so I don't know if I pull 3 Maidens, 3 Saint Joan, maybe I'll try it, but it still feels bad. I don't think we're going for it.
With
Uh,
Fusion Gate, it's a bit more reasonable, but not
yeah.
realistic.
All right, we'll
You'd
keep
have
that
to
in
go
mind.
all in, and ultimately it only gets you a big monster,
I wish I had some
which,
of those.
might be enough, but
Yeah. Well, 2800 is 2800, but I was thinking of, like all the tournament packs had those like tribute replacements, and I pulled none of them, so I can't even just clog up the deck with more for redundancy. So not a chance. I looked through all these normal monsters. We'll be able to skip past most of them. I think the ones that I cared about was like Earthbound Spirit as a Fiend, Earth, 2K Defender were 3 things that I noted were interesting. Empress Mantis is another 2-headed dragon, but this one's for wind. Um, the other ones were kind of on the whimsy side. I know there's another 2K Defender somewhere I had seen. Humanoid Slime is the 2K Water Defender, which is just like the island turtle that we got last time. Like going
nothing's
through,
really worth it in
Shining Abyss
normals.
is not worth it. Earl of Demise is not worth it. Yeah, I think it's just a bunch of vanillas. And I mean, more 2K defenders, but at one point we'll have all the 2K defenders in the world that we'll want. So whatever. Sorry about that. All right, Bait Doll. Target a set card in the spell and trap zone. Reveal it. Force its activation if it's a trap card. Then negate its effect if the activation timing is incorrect. Huh. If you do, destroy it. If it's not a trap card, return it face down. When this card resolves, you shuffle it back into your deck instead of sending it to the graveyard. Is this kind of decent? Like but it's set
I think
spell a trap,
spells are still better than traps in general.
and like we've already got Nobleman of Extermination, so
I think Noblemen of Extermination is generally better than
okay.
Bait Doll,
Well,
depending on whether you have it or not, of
I
course.
have
But
2. We definitely don't have full play sets. We'll keep it in mind, but yeah, Bait Doll, okay, not so great. Chosen One is really bad. I read it the other day and I was like, oh. So you select 1 monster card and 2 non-monster cards from your hand. Your opponent randomly selects 1 card among them. If it is the monster card, it's special summoned, and you send the remaining 2 cards to the graveyard. If not, you send all of the cards to the graveyard.
it's not good.
It's funny though. If someone does it, I'll respect the play, but it's not great.
Yeah,
Miracle Dig. If 5 or more of your monsters are currently removed from play, return 3 of them to the graveyard. This doesn't do anything for us right now.
pretty
Um,
much.
unfortunately.
And by the time it will do stuff, there's going to be better options.
All right. Spirit Elimination. When monsters in the graveyard are removed from play, remove monsters on your side of the field from play as substitutes. This card remains active until the end of the turn that it is activated. The substitutes remain removed from play. This doesn't.
It's horrid.
This seems
It's just
horrible.
horrid.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm okay. This seems like, hey, when someone tries to exile your yard, remove your board instead.
Yeah, it's just horrid.
Ugh, okay. Collected power. Target a face-up monster on the field. Equip it with all equipped cards on the field. If any of them are now equipped to an incorrect target, destroy that equipped card. This seems hilarious. If people
I would
keep,
call it very risky at this point.
yeah, because okay, so here's my issue. It's coming out in the same set as a Kibio Drakmord. So you're playing if you get a turn where literally everything is like nuzzlers and stuff, you're golden. But as soon as like a single paralyzing potion, a Kibio Drakmor type thing is hanging around, you're in trouble. So
Exactly. I don't think it's worth playing. It's theoretically interesting, but
yeah,
I wouldn't.
yeah.
I
All
will
right.
say you can target your opponent's monsters as well.
Oh, okay. So you can use well, yeah.
But
So you can do kind of like a mini Tailor of the Fickle. Okay, good to know.
yes,
Deal a Phantom. Select a face-up monster on the field. Increase its attack by 100 points for each monster in your graveyard during the turn this card is activated. The number of monsters is applied when this card is activated. So it technically gives you like a sort of like Labyrinth Ghoul finisher for anything that you have if you're dumping like in the longer grinding game. I still think it's kind of niche. Like I'd rather just slap a 700, 800 attacking like equip spell that's usable at like all levels or like a rush recklessly. So,
I'd
um,
lean towards too niche as well.
oh,
Because, like,
yeah,
if you compare it to Rush Recklessly,
yeah.
you can't use it from your hand, and getting up to 700 is
Oh,
maybe not
yeah,
the
true.
easiest
You
thing in
can't
the
use it from
world.
your hand. Okay, so,
Yes.
all right. All right. Let's see what else we got. We have, um, oh, we have TVP that may jump in. Let's see. Let's see if, that's TVP coming in. Anyway, Mask of Weakness. This one seems okay. It's attacking monster, loses 700 attack on turn. It seems still niche, but like, it'll still
This one's
have
very playable,
it'll
actually.
okay because it'll have I see plenty of turns where 700 attack is like game defining where suddenly you took a bunch of damage and you lost your monster and mine is okay. So I'm sure we'll be
Yeah,
playing Mask of Weakness.
this is more comparable to Rush Recklessly, I'd
Okay,
say.
cool. Let's keep that in mind. I know Offerings to the Doomed is playable. Even if you skip
Very
your next
playable,
draw
yes.
phase, it's just straight up target a face up monster, destroy it, and it's a quick play. So I want many, many copies of this card, please. I'm tired of being like removal starved. And finally, well, Curse of the Mass Beast summons the Mass Beast. It's a ritual summon. We're probably not playing it, so that's it for the commons. So some good
Pretty
stuff,
much.
and it's been pretty much the same. Some good stuff. It's nice to keep the spirits in mind. Some traps and some spells are decent, and then as we said, those continuous ones. There's actually quite a few that are quite fine. So in the
Yes.
short prints, there's a bunch of
I
the
think it's
ones.
all the same.
Yeah, it's all the same, and there's quite a few that we care about. So like Vengeful Fairy, Mask of Weakness. So we'll keep those in mind. Rares. So rares are going to go by pretty quickly because four of them are not playable. At least not unless we get, I'm guessing, a certain density. And maybe you'll tell me no, you're wrong. Times you can definitely play Spirit Board, but we'll see when we get to that. So infinite cards is our first one. No limit to the number of cards in players' hands. I'm not playing a card like this.
It's not worth playing.
It's not
It's
worth,
no good.
and it helps your opponent. No, I don't like it. Jam
Yep.
Breeding Machine. I read it once, thought it was good. Then I reread it and realized something bad. Like I didn't really read that last one correctly. So it keeps making slime tokens, but you can't summon any monsters except slime tokens, and yet, but you can set stuff. So is this
Unplayable.
okay? Okay,
Absolutely unplayable.
I was gonna be.
Probably one of the worst cards in the entire
I thought someone was going to say like, no, Times, you're wrong. You play like all these set
game.
cards, and you just keep getting 500 attack position. I'm like, but don't you just get like beaten up anyway? So here's the spirit message. I already talked about it before. How I love how I know the art says death, but they couldn't say death on the card, so it spells final instead, which to me is amazing because you have spirit message A, but the art that they picked was the T one because that's how it is in the order DEAT. Like I love
I
it.
will say that they are using the Japanese art for this. They did change it for the American release.
Oh, they did? Oh, I thought
Yes,
they just completely didn't care. So they're actually the letters have been changed in the American release on the
I
art.
believe so. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. They at least did their job. I thought I was just gonna laugh about it for years. Is the Destiny board deck playable? It doesn't sound like it, right?
Um,
You have to run.
it's something you could theoretically do if you built your deck around it, but I don't think it's playable with someone having Heavy Storm and Giant Trunade,
Two giant
because either of
Trinades.
those cards just destroy those.
So I'm going to scroll up just to read Destiny board. So it's when this card and all four of the spirit messages are placed on your field, and I'm guessing they have to be face up or just when this
They have to
card.
be face up,
Yeah, you
yes.
win the duel. But once per turn during your opponent's end phase, you get to place one from your hand or deck in your spell and trap zone. So, and they have to be in the proper order. So you actually have to go like Final across your board, right? You have to spell it in that order.
Yes.
Okay. But when any spirit message or destiny board you control leaves the field, you have to send all of them to the graveyard.
Yes. So it's an
Uh,
all in strategy that just kind of isn't worth it.
it wins. It wins in what 4 turns or slightly faster if you draw them, right? Like
Not really, because you actually can't play the cards
no.
without the effect of Destiny
Oh, never
board.
mind. You can't even play them. So if they're in your hand, they're just okay. I don't like this. I hope someone can go for it, but I will not be the one to do
It'd
that.
be very funny, but I don't think it's good.
All right, all right. Dark Lord Marie, 1700 5-star. Once per turn during your standby phase, you gain 200 life. This card must be in the graveyard. Okay, so I don't like most of it, but it's cute that it's like as long as this or multiple copies are in your yard, you keep gaining life. This probably isn't worth it though.
Nope.
If it was like a 4-star 1700 that then died and then kept giving you life, I'd probably play it, especially because it's a Dark Fiend at 4, but it's a Dark Fiend at 5, and I don't like that. So Gilosaurus seems playable. I know it says like there's bad text after it, but it's like you can special summon it. If you do, your opponent can special summon a monster from the graveyard. But if it's in your opener or the early turns where they don't have anything in the graveyard, it's like a free special summon, right?
In theory, I wouldn't play it, honestly.
No? Okay. Interesting. I was
Because it's cool that it's a free special summon, but you're special summoning a 1400 that doesn't do
my
much.
my thinking was it's a 3-star for like gravity bind. If I'm going like it's not I wouldn't run it out like on turn 1 unprotected. It would be more like turn 2 I still have something that let's say survived 1 turn, and then I can special summon that and then tribute out something big off of it or um okay, I guess maybe it's too small and the downside's too big.
That's kind of the general thing.
All right, all right.
It might be playable with dinosaur decks later down the line,
Okay,
funnily enough,
okay, keep it in
but
mind.
the downside is just makes it mostly irrelevant.
Okay. Jaugen the Spiritualist. You can discard a random card from your hand to the graveyard to destroy all special summon monsters on the field. Neither player can special summon monsters. This seems decent as like a floodgate type thing, right? Is it
This is a
bad?
card you play along with other floodgates. It's
Okay.
not as relevant right now because special summoning isn't that relevant right now.
Yeah, okay.
But
I was kind of cheating by looking at the prices, and this is like the one rare that's like $3.50 and everything else is like 20 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents. And I was like, oh, I guess in the future this can actually do something like, oh hey,
this sees
Jaugen.
play in stun decks sometimes
Okay.
because in modern times, this most more monsters than not are special summoned.
Yeah.
So this just blows up your opponent's board and you just lock them out of the game.
And like you can do it like on your turn. You can go play from hand, discard a card, destroy all special summons, and then yeah.
Yeah, this is only during your turn. But something
Hey,
that's interesting about this, also, hi, how are you doing?
pretty good. Let me just drop your volume just a little bit. That came in
Oh,
loud.
yeah,
No,
apologize.
you're good. I put you down a little bit. Oh, we have Kogane here
Nice, nice,
too. What up?
Hello.
nice.
I'm going to
So,
put your volume back up though.
it's always the case with him. It's either too astronomically low or just slightly low enough to where you can't hear him.
So yeah, sorry about that. Keep going. You were saying something about Jaugen?
Yeah, so something I looked at when I was reading Jaugen the Spiritualist again after, like, God knows how long. This doesn't necessarily have to come at a really big downside if you play most or all of the other cards in your hand first.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of use this as just a free discard outlet as well. I just thought about that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because you don't actually wait. This doesn't say once per turn.
No,
It does not.
Yes, it
No.
is
not.
not.
This does not say once per turn. Oh
Cool.
no.
So for now, unlikely to do much. For the far future, keep it in mind.
Yeah, I would
Exactly.
definitely watch out, see if you have stuff that matters staying in the graveyard. This is awesome for that.
All right, we've got Nuvia the Wicked. It's a 2k attacker for 4. It's a Fiend Dark. If it's normal summoned, destroy it. If your opponent controls any monster, decrease the attack of this card by 200 points for each monster on your opponent's side of the field. This reminds me of Rhino Soldier, where it's like, you have to set it first. And I'm like, yes, but it's an 800 defender. I'm not going to survive
Yeah, no.
to get it
If it
to
didn't
know
have
what-
that first clause, I would consider playing it. But
Well, yeah, exactly.
You know what's funny? You discard this to Jowgen, and then you find a way to reanimate it.
I think there's better
No.
things to reanimate.
Correct, but it
That
would.
is
I feel
true.
like that's the only realistic way to get this on the field for a long period of time.
We lost Monster Reborn anyway. We banned it, so the only thing that we have
True.
left is like the Shallow Grave. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Spirit of the Breeze. As long as this card remains in face-up attack position, you increase your life. There's so many of these cards. It's like, as long as you put this card in a really shitty spot, you get life. And I'm like, but it's a 0 attacker. My opponent will literally just make me take another 2k damage. So no thank
I
you,
mean,
Spirit
like
of the Breeze.
you could just like have attack floodgates and then sit on it, but like
I don't
life
know.
is not a good payoff.
No. And yeah, that's the thing. Life is not a good payoff here. Because like Upstart Goblin, great card. My opponent was like, I don't care if you have a few more life. I'll take it back anyway with my +3 card advantage. So anyway, Spirit of the Breeze, gorgeous art by the way though. Like
Amazing. I cannot wait.
For like
This is amazing,
original like
Like
these early
if
sets.
it was your opponent loses, inflict 1,000
Oh, yeah.
life point damage,
Now,
then it would
now
be
we're
a good
talking.
card.
Now we're doing something. But yeah, honestly,
That'll be too
like
easy.
some of the art is actually quite nice. Like I think Jowgen's art is fantastic. Like these arts are actually really quite pretty. And my friend was talking, Crimpy was not complaining, but was saying some of the early arts are kind of really like fugly a bit. But I'm like, some of them are just so cool. Like, and they're not arts you would see on Magic cards. So it's nice to like get a chance to play with some different stuff. Mask of Brutality. The equipped monster gains 1,000 attack, loses 1,000 defense, but you have to pay 1,000 life points. I would probably still play this card just because
yeah, it's
This
super
is
playable.
clean.
if we don't get to my standby phase and my opponent's dead, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Additionally, you could just treat it as a sorcery speed. Sorcery
Yeah.
speed rush recklessly.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Just
Also,
Yeah, paying
crush
is
it.
optional as well. So
Oh,
the
wow, it's
paying
optional.
each turn
Okay, it's optional.
doesn't
It's,
matter.
oh, hold up, we're losing you a little
Good
bit
card.
there. We had a bit of garbly. I think that was maybe TVP that garbled a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see if that happens. If yeah, yeah. Okay, so you don't even have to pay the 1,000. You can just opt not to. This is actually quite nice. 1,000 attack for a one shot. Like I'll take it. Tornado Bird looks actually pretty good because it doesn't say what some of the earlier cards have said, which is like set or face up. It's just straight up return 2 spell or trap cards on the field to their owner's hands.
yeah,
Um,
which is totally playable.
So, and because it's flip, you know, you can run it and you can set it, and then just your opponent's stuff goes back to their hands, and like, I like it.
Have things like Call of the Haunted and Limit Reverse come out yet?
Isn't Call of the Haunted Torrential Tribute? Do we
Because
get Call
if
of the
they
Haunted?
have, you can Call of the Haunted Sangan. When Tornado Bird's flipped up, your Call of the Haunted returns to your hand. You can use it again, and then Sangan is destroyed, and you can search.
I'll be honest, I'm blanking a little bit whether or not we already opened Call of the Haunted. I'd have to go back and check.
I imagine not, but if it were,
I don't want to open a new tab right now, but if someone wants to check when Call of the Haunted was brought in while I read Amphibian Beasts and on, can let me know. Because if yes, maybe I have a memory of someone having one, but it might just be because I was watching Prog series earlier today, so I'm not gonna jinx it. Anyway, Amphibian Beast is a level 6 2400 attacker that is kind of relevant. Not that like we really want to be doing too much tribute, but like I will replace my 2-headed dragons that are 2200s for this 2400. It's no Jinzo, but like I don't know. It's not the worst. I could see myself playing at least a copy.
We were on Amphibian Beast, I'm guessing.
Yep. All good on your end?
Yeah, I figured out what it was.
Sweet. Yeah, I don't know if you heard Grishnax and I. Well, Grishnax was witness to me having headphone issues. I normally use AirPods, but I had to actually go and get a wired pair of headphones, and I found my USB-C port on the
Oh,
back. Anyway, it's okay. I spent 30 minutes
Our
trying to
Call of the
pair.
Hunted was first in Pharaoh's Servant, I
Oh,
believe.
okay. So we have opened. Now my question is, did any of us open some? Obviously this
okay.
is a
Wait. Oh,
spoiler, but
sorry.
yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna just check real quick. I know I didn't get any.
I
Um,
wanted to look at Amphibian Beast. This is surprisingly more playable than it looks. That's kind of
I
interesting.
said I would play it. The fact that it's
Yeah,
2400 is better than a lot of what we currently have. Um,
like even if you're just using it as a defense position monster, which you
mhm.
probably don't want to do, it's still 2K. Like it's
Yep.
at least good in that context.
Okay, so
I think that's really cool here.
I'm not seeing Call of the Haunted in my pool or in Zphil. So let me just check Crimpy's real quick because if Crimpy has it, that'll be interesting.
Honestly, I don't think bouncing Call of the Haunted with Tornado Bird and Sangan
Oh no,
stuff
it was
is
just
even worth it that
someone brought
much.
it up, and I was now honestly, I'm curious now if we have access to it. So what's nice?
Oh, okay. Tornado Bird is kind of interesting. I've never seen this
Okay,
card
looks
before.
looks like nobody pulled Call of the Haunted, so we don't have to deal with it.
Wow.
Yeah. Return of the
Yeah, this
Doomed.
is
We're at Return of the Doom now.
heard.
Normal spell, discard a monster card from your hand to the graveyard, return one of your monsters destroyed and sent to your graveyard as a result of battle during this turn to your hand at the end of this turn. This does not seem good.
This is just bad.
Wow.
Holy.
Yeah,
This is really bad. They saw Monster Reborn and said, no, we need to make this like five times worse in like 5 different ways.
Yeah.
It has to be battled during this turn and it goes back to your hand only at the end of the turn, so you can't even. No, bad. Spiritualism. Return a spell or trap card your opponent controls to the hand. This card's activation and effect cannot be negated. I would play Spiritualism.
yeah, it's reasonable spell trap removal for this
It's
era.
it's just
It's
like
like not great, but
no,
it
because
does what it needs to do.
it's in hand, but I like the fact that it
I'd
can't be
even call
negated.
it better than Bait Doll, which we saw in the
Oh, I
commons.
hope so. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, honestly, this card seems just good enough to get through an attack phase. Like,
Hmm.
you need to be able to beat them down, and maybe they only have something up,
Yep.
and it might just be Mirror Force.
Well,
This can just win you the game.
so I have a Mirror Force. No, I have a Mirror Wall. Sorry, not Mirror Force. But the one card I was
That's
looking at
hilarious.
here is I know Torrential Tribute is here, so something to keep in mind.
Yeah,
Destruction Punch. If the attack of an attacking monster your opponent controls is lower than the defense of the attacked defense position monster you control, destroy the attacking monster at the end of the damage step. So it's I mean, I guess it would have been kind of fine for the decks I used to run, which was like the 2K Defender deck and stuff, because they attack
yeah.
into it. But I'm moving off of that right now, so I don't know.
I wouldn't call it worth it.
I wouldn't be playing this, I think, at this point. So yeah, rares actually less good stuff than the commons, funnily enough, at least for this stage. So I mean,
A Tornado Bird
a few
and
picks, but
Spiritualism, and that's about
yeah,
it. Oh, MS Brutality.
yep, jogging in the future, and yeah. So we said what after rare, it's super. So Mask of Dispel. Select a face-up spell card on the field. Oh, this is the controller of the there's a creature version. Is that Mask of the Accursed? Okay, yeah. So it's these two masks are like select a face up spell card. The controller of that spell card keeps taking 500 points during each of your standby phases, and when the selected card is removed from the field, destroy this card. Probably not really good because it doesn't negate the spell card, right?
I wouldn't call it very good, no.
Like if it actually said like negate the effects of that spell card while it's around and keep ticking them, maybe. But the fact that it doesn't do that makes me less high on it.
I mean, it could be used as a tech card against like something like level limit area B.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking of it like as a niche effect to just use as like a solution to like really slow like
Yeah.
Or
gameplay.
like Messenger of Peace, any of those like
Yeah.
floodgates that prevent
All right.
attacking.
Keeping in
Yeah.
mind, I still feel like maybe removal will be the
It's
best.
definitely bad though.
It's
All right.
bad, but like it could be used as tech.
Okay, good to know. Rear Yoku Field. When a spell card that targets exactly one monster on the field and no other cards is activated, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it.
What a specific card
It's
in
very
effect.
specific. So it's
I mean,
like
it is a counter trap.
it's
if that is
exactly the
relevant.
counter to Nobleman of Crossout, and that's it. Like,
There's Offering to the Doomed as well.
okay.
Now.
I guess there's Offering to the Doomed. Okay. I mean, I'd rather just I don't know. We'll see.
Like
no,
the upside is good. but the
Actually,
downside is just huge.
it counters every single equipped spell as well.
I did not think about that.
Oh, that is
That's
true, yeah.
hilarious.
Okay. Okay.
You can counter equips with this, which does make it a bit more relevant.
Okay. That seems a little better now. Okay. Because it doesn't say your monster. Okay. Okay. I like it a little more now. Bazoo the Soul Eater I know is actually quite decent. Once per turn, banish up to 3 monsters from your graveyard. It gains 300 for each. Like, just going up to 1900 is big, and then the fact that you can go up to like quite high, 2500 is really good. So I can
19 to 22 to 25.
Yeah.
Like that is awesome.
It's
All of those are good.
If it was
It's
1500, we could have earthed a giant rat, but unfortunately we can't. But the defense is low enough that we can get it out with some of the previous recruiters, but we can't get it to the board. But yeah, Bazoo looks pretty fine. Fire Princess. Each time you gain life points, inflict 500 damage. This is supposed to be like the big payoff for all those life triggers. But it's also a 4-star 1300, 1500 defense. This card just dies to everything. So
this card is only relevant in those stupid infinite combos.
Yeah, so which isn't going to happen right here. So Kaiku. Kaiku is good. I know Kaiku is good. It's 4-star. It's 1800 already. I would be like, great, now we have the dark version, but it also banishes up to 2 monsters in your opponent's graveyard. And your opponent cannot banish cards from either player's graveyard. So
this card stays relevant.
Kaiku is very, very good.
Time.
Yeah, I've seen Kaiku in Master Saga. I've seen Kaikus in Progression series for quite a while. It's a dark, like, we'll be seeing Kaiku for a while if we pull some. Revival Jam. Revival Jam. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can pay 1,000 life points. Special summon it in face-up defense position during your next turn's standby phase. So I wasn't a big fan of the Jam Defender trap card, but is Revival Jam fine as like a sticky card that you can guarantee for a tribute or something else, or is it just bleh?
It's kind of just bleh.
Oh, bye Jam. I'll keep you in mind, but
so sad.
There's better.
Yeah, like theoretically, it does always, like you said, it always guarantees that you have a tribute during your next standby phase. So next turn.
It's but no like, Treeborn Frog. Was that what I'm being told? It's not a
500 defense is just and 1500 attack is just so bad.
Additionally, it's very conditional. It has to be destroyed by battle specifically.
Yep.
And it goes to face-up defense. Yeah. Okay. Oh, well. All right. Bye-bye. Mask of the Accursed is the... So, see, this is what I like about this one, is it adds in the Paralyzing Potion. So, again, we have a better version of Paralyzing Potion here on top of... What was the other one that we saw? We said it was...
Spell? That one with the weird name.
Oh, yeah. Ikibio Drakmord is already better Paralyzing Potion, and now we also get Mask of the Accursed. So, they can attack, and then it keeps inflicting 500 damage as long as they have it around. So... That'll replace our Paralyzing Potions. Like, we'll probably play these if we have to.
Honestly, this is so clean just due to the fact that, like, they can do whatever attributing that they want to get Big Beater down or whatever, hit your defender, and then you just slam this down and just basically say, either find a way to tribute this card, your card, or just start to die. It's a good answer, I think.
I like it a lot, actually. Dark Spirit of the Silent. Activate only when an opponent's monster declares an attack. Negate that attack. Select another face-up monster your opponent controls. So what I've been told before I read the rest is you can't use this if your opponent does not have another face-up monster, correct? It's one of those things where... Yeah, okay. That monster attacks instead. This seems too situational. Like,
I actually super disagree with that. This card is pretty good.
Oh man, I don't know.
It's
where we're at right now. People are just slamming 1800. So whether or not the left one or the right one attacks first, is it more like, hey, I managed to get rid of one because maybe I slammed your 1800 into, I don't know.
Well, let's see.
Okay.
Negating the attack means they can't attack again that turn.
Oh, so I didn't know that. I thought they could attack again. Okay, that's something that was not clear here. I was reading negate the attack and just like, oh, the other one gets to attack. No, okay. So if it negates an attack, that's actually fine. That's okay. I like it a lot more.
It negates the original attack.
I thought,
and if you crash it into something else, so if someone attacks you with like Dark Magician and you crash it into their Jirai Gumo,
okay, we're good.
Then their Jirai Gumo's dead and their Dark Magician can't attack.
I misread part of it. This card's a lot better. Also, the fact that it doesn't have to be face-up attack. If it's in defense, you can change it to attack position. So you can
Yeah, that part's
actually
huge.
you can throw one of the really okay. You know what? Never mind. Dark Spirit of the Silent, much better than I expected.
Very playable. I
okay.
believe I played it in my own prog series, and it did a fair amount of work.
So let's talk about Jar of Greed.
Oh yeah.
You have to, so I know it's like you have to set it, and then technically as soon as you pass over to your opponent, you can fire off your jars to draw. And I know later on like there's other things to do with it, but like, is this good? Like, is it a good card?
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's just fine.
Like-
It's funny.
Like
even.
I get 3 copies. Like, do you run the 3? Do you run the 1? Like, it's
Probably not.
because like Upstart Goblin is like the one that I like because you just play
Upstart
it.
Goblin's better than Jar of Greed, generally speaking.
Because like how
Jar of Greed is good in decks where you want to draw a lot. But,
yeah. Okay, so it's not.
Also-
not like
Don't just throw
amazing.
3 copies in, being like, yeah, my deck is 37 cards, because it's not really true because you're not getting that card draw on the turn that you have it, right? So
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same as Upstart.
okay, I'll keep an eye.
I was
on
even
you,
gonna
Jar,
say, hear me out on this as well. If you have a lot of stuff that you can do during your opponent's turn, Jar of Greed is amazing. Just
Okay.
due to the fact that like
it's going to get good with.
you start refilling during their turn.
I know it's a
Yeah.
little later, but I know eventually there's a burn deck, and there's some cards that really care about being on chain 2, 3, 4, right? So this is where something
that's when Jar of
yeah.
Greed
that's
gets
when
better.
Jar of Greed gets better, in my opinion, right? Because it's such
Also,
a free activation.
Jar of Greed can be used to bluff better back row.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Jar of Greed. Niche.
And if you lose
but-
Jar of Greed, hey, it's just Jar of Greed.
Well, and often you can just activate it in response if you've already set it, and yeah, nice little.
Yeah.
I like the art. I like the pot, the jars. I like the whole concept of like the money's in the pot, right? So, defusion. None of us are playing this because no one's fusion summoned. But target a fusion monster on the field, return it to the extra deck. Then, if all the fusion materials that were used for it are in your graveyard, you special summon all them. Like, I don't see us using it right now. I don't know.
It's kind of
Wait,
funny.
Is someone
but
going to tell me
not
there's like a super
great.
secret combo where you do something with it? I don't know, but
Well, because it's a quick play, you can activate it during the battle phase and then attack with the newly summoned monsters.
oh, okay.
The other notable part is that you can target your opponent's monsters and it just kills them.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, it sure does.
'Cause it's
Because
word
I was
used.
reading this wording and I was like, wait, why does it say any
Okay.
fusion monster on the field, but it then returns the ones that
Okay,
are on your
it's-
side? You
well,
didn't fusion summon
keep
it.
that in
Oh,
mind.
it just bounces it.
All right, I'll keep
Yes.
that in mind. So that was supers. So I guess all we have left are the ultras and the secrets, right? We're
Mhm.
So card of safe return is forbidden everywhere. When a monster
Yes.
special summon from your graveyard, you can draw 1 card. We're not doing much with it now, but I know this card gets absolutely bonkers.
Did you know that in
yes.
the
Oh my
anime you
God.
draw 3?
Pardon?
My God, no wonder there's 3 on there.
Yeah.
It's dumb. It's stupid. It's powerful. It's
Cool.
broken.
Once
And-
I assume that the moment that someone can do something with it, this card is going to get like immediately banned. So,
Yeah.
Almost certainly, yes.
we've already talked Destiny board. I know maybe some of you weren't here, but we already talked at length about this card. So my thoughts on it have already been made. Mask of Restrict. So here's the thing. Neither player can tribute cards. We've already all learned that tributing is not all that great. I don't really feel like playing a card that, might not do much more going forward, because we've switched to doing more like Malevolent Nuzzler 1800s instead of Dark Magicians, right? So
Yeah.
and we're not side decking, so it's not like I can have them in my sideboard and say, okay, big tribute deck, Monarch, this is going to be awesome, and I drop a Mask of Restrict, but
This is something that if you have in your collection, you should keep in mind for later, but it really isn't worth playing right now.
yeah, that's what I thought too. Royal Command. Flip monsters'
a
effects
funny
cannot be
art.
activated. Also, their effects are negated. Okay,
What a
this
fun art.
It's like a similar thing, right? If your opponent's running a big flip monster type stuff, like what is it? The later on you get like the Deslacuda. Those are flip effects, right? There's a whole scarab thing going on, but
Yep.
I don't. Again, we don't have a side deck, so it's just kind of like we have to be like, yep, they pulled the 3 and 3 of those. I have to respect that and put maybe 1 copy in my deck, and just maybe it doesn't do anything.
Pretty much.
I don't know. Dark Necrofear. The art is sick on this card. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing 3 fiend monsters from your graveyard. It's a 2200 attacker, 2800 defender. during the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was destroyed in your monster zone by an opponent's card and sent there this turn, doesn't say by battle though, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, equip this card to that target. While this card is equipped to a monster with this effect, take control of that monster. It does a lot of big splashy stuff, and it's just the fact that if you play a bunch of fiends, you can free special summon it. Like, I could see a Dark Necrofear if I had the density of fiends, right? Is that
I think getting the density of fiends is the hard part.
Is Mystic Tomato?
I think this is a very good card, but I think it's just kind of too hard to summon at this point in the game.
I swear I've seen someone try it out before in Prague. There's got to be a brave person.
I wouldn't be surprised, and I mean, who knows? Maybe you can make it work.
All right, well, no, Mystic Tomato is a plant, as it should be, and not a fiend. So no tomatoes there, but yeah, we'll keep that in mind. So I know Mage Power and United We Stand are good, and I know that I think United We Stand has on occasion been banned. Mage Power is 500 attack and defense for each spell trap card you control, including this one, and then United We Stand is 800 for each face-up monster you control, including the one that you equipped, right? So these actually are some of the best equips in terms of like getting raw power out. Yeah,
yeah,
like,
absolutely.
They're huge.
These are nuts. You put them in any deck at this stage.
And when it says for each spell trap card you control, does that also include like the face down ones?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can just set your hand of equip
Yeah.
spells and equip Mage Power.
Plus 2,000.
That's 2,500.
Yeah. Okay.
Or whatever.
Yeah. And United We Stand obviously is just face up, but yeah. So they're just really, really good. I'm assuming that these will see play. I believe United We Stand even got banned in Progression Series 2 for SEMO, if I remember correctly. So like this card is good.
I could believe it.
United We Stand is awesome.
I want to pull a copy. I love the equip stuff. Last Warrior from another. It's funny that like they're essentially auras, and in Magic auras suck. But like I'm like I'll play them.
Yep.
The Last Warrior from Another Planet needs to combine Zombyra and Mario Kutai, which you already said was not particularly playable. And this thing is, if it's special summon, destroy all other monsters you control. Neither player can summon monsters. I know that there's a trick with this one, right? Isn't this one of the? I've seen some. Was it with this one, or am I thinking of a different one? The like obviously you never use Zombyra and Mario, but the neither player can summon monsters part is pretty important if you can get this out before they get monsters, right? Like
this is part of modern stun decks.
Oh,
they're
okay,
not
cool.
great decks, but like
there
are ways to get this out. And
I'm gonna
just
check real
if
quick.
you get this out turn one, it often and are able to protect it. It often means your opponent can't do anything.
I can see this being part of stun decks. I don't see it in modern stun decks.
Okay. Well,
modern stun decks.
I have no clue what a modern stun deck looks like, so I couldn't tell you. But it's 7 stars, so like it doesn't work with Magical Scientist or Instant Fusion, but like there's other ways of getting it out, right? In the future. So.
You could like Metamorphosis instead of 7 star.
Okay, so we'll keep that in mind. And obviously this one here, Torrential Tribute, it's pretty much the big card, I would say, of the set. Getting one of these really changes how your deck can play because...
You know it. You love it.
A monster summon, destroy all monsters. It's just, none of us have any sweepers. No one has a Dark Hole. No one has a Raigeki. We've got the Spell Trap sweepers in Heavy Storm and Giant Trunade, and one player has 3 copies of those two between each other. So,
nice.
Torrential Tribute
I love that you can also
big.
Use this card. You can trigger this card just by summoning your own monster. I think that's still
absolutely
fun.
I love Torrential Tribute.
That's
the art's great.
part.
It would be nice to pick them up here. And the Mass Beast, we're not playing. I mean, it's nice that it's a 3,200 8-star, but like if I
I mean, imagine ever summoning this.
It's an ultra rare. We're not gonna pull enough copies of this and Curse of the Mass Beast. So you're pretty.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember its ritual card. I don't even remember how you get this out.
Yeah, Curse of the Mass Beast.
It's a common. You just need 8 stars.
8 stars from hand or field, like which is reasonable. 2 4 stars, but like, if I had 3 copies,
really
3 copies. Well, here's the thing: 3 copies, 3 copies. Sonic Bird sang like no, probably not, but it's pretty. You know what?
It is pretty.
There's 2 cards. There's 2 cards for this set left, and I know they're both good. Gemini Elf is a 1900 vanilla attacker. 4-star, you'll play it. Like at this stage, we're playing it. And Magic Cylinder is just really good. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you target the attacking monster, negate the attack, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its attack. Just the fact that if any one of us pulls this card, any face down card becomes super scary just by knowing that this card is around, because
Well, yeah,
this
pretty
just
much.
like will kill you if you're not careful. So um
You can bait them into destroying your jar of greeds.
I think if someone plays Magic Cylinder, I think Jirai Gumo fades out, because risking half your life points and then 2,200 would be horrible. So that's Labyrinth of Nightmare. There's good stuff. Like, once again, there's stuff that we want here at pretty much all rarities. The spirits are cool. The masks are nice. Like, there's a lot of stuff to look forward to here. There's obviously some duds, but there's duds in every set. So
If people pull Fairy Box, games are going to be very
yep,
obnoxious.
we talked about Fairy
Yeah, we
Box
went
at
over
length.
that one.
We went over all the Fairy Boxes, Vengeful Bog Spirits, all the sort of lockdown stuff, and I'm
Oh
hoping
no, no,
I'm hoping Fairy Box does not get pulled like
Vengeful
Red.
Box Bait has nothing on Fairy Box.
No, no, I'm aware. I'll be happy if Fairy Box hits the bucket pretty fast. So, we're also going to look at two other things. We're going to look at the McDonald's promotional cards, because we're actually going to pull a few packs of these just for the fun of it, and only for, like, obviously we're not going to play any of these cards, but just for the chance to get Cosmo Queen or Millennium Shield just as bragging rights, because I sometimes crack packs just for fun, and I still haven't managed to pull either of these just by freely opening stuff. And I think Grish had a few bits of trivia. So we'll start at the commons. There's literally not a single card in here that we'll play. All the 4-stars are smaller. Nothing's great. But Grish, did you want to talk about Slime Toad?
Slime Toad. I love Slime Toad.
Frog
Well,
the Jam,
that's not quite true. I love Frog the Jam.
So,
So
yeah.
when Frog became an archetype, every Frog card said except for Frog the Jam.
Which is such
And
bad
then
design.
at some point, Konami decided, hey, what if we just stopped doing that and renamed Frog the Jam?
So now it's called Slime Toad. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you look at Three-Legged Zombies, I realized that the art looked very familiar. And it's Unizombie.
Okay.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, if you look at Three-Legged Zombies, it's Unizombie.
Interesting. Not that we'll play it.
It's not playable, no.
It's really a
But
shame.
it was interesting to see it because there's a lot of references to old Yu-Gi-Oh! That Konami likes to do just in random cards.
Yeah, no kidding.
So,
Like some of the art here is pretty cool. Honestly, the art on Yoranzo that kind of has like this crystal thing, like some of it looks cool. It's just not that we're gonna play it. Moving up to the super rare. So there's no rares. It's like you'll always be pulling commons. There's 2 cards in each pack, and I almost have never pulled anything except commons. Goddess of Whim. I mean, none of these are playable. This is just once per turn, you toss a coin, call heads or tails. If you call it right, double the attack during this turn. If you call it wrong, halve its attack. It's horrible. Really, really bad. Takraminos is a 1500 water attacker. No thanks. We're good. And then Dark Piercing Light is flip all face down monsters on your opponent's side of the field face up. Does that trigger flip effects? Because it does say flip.
it does, yes.
So that's not good.
correct.
That is so funny.
And then the bragging rights. So the only reason that we're opening these is because I love it. $39, $64 in value. Cosmo Queen is a 2900 attacker for 8. I guess is bigger than Wingweaver. Like, it would be the biggest summon that we can do right now. And Millennium Shield is a labyrinth wall. That's like a 3K. I'm thinking we're just going to say, hey, whoever pulls one of these gets bragging rights for the week, but we're just doing this for fun. So thanks for checking out the McDonald's promotional cards. I love how it's called MP1.
I believe they have a second one. I
Oh
think
my
Sinister
gosh.
Serpent is in that one.
Well,
So
we'll get there when we get there. Tournament
Yeah.
Pack 3. So the tournament packs have been absolute garbage for 1 and 2, but 3 has some really spicy stuff. There's
Yes.
Dark. I mean, I'm going to skip the stuff that I know is not great. I mean, Bladefly is Bladefly, but it's not particularly playable. But Dark Elf is at common, and I think there's like a single copy between the 3 of us. So it'd be nice to have that. There's Spirit of the Harp is a 2K defender. Some of my friends don't have like tons of copies. The only player who pulled all the Harpy Sisters already has 3 Elegant Egotists, by the way. But, you know, this card is a card. And then, I mean, we're all staring at it. There's Pot of Greed at common. The chances that we can get a Pot of Greed are actually quite high off of 3 tournament packs each. And I think whoever pulls one of these is going to be set for a good while. So fingers crossed. And I think we get at least 2 shots at tournament pack 3. So hopefully we can get some pot of greeds added to the mix. It would be really, really nice to be able to draw some cards. Then moving up to rare, none of these are going to be particularly good. Patrol Robo is pretty bad. Axe Raider, we've already passed the point where 1700s are good. We're not getting out Quaggar Hercules. And White Hole, well, nobody has a Dark Hole, so even if this was good, we're not playing it. But it's super rare. We get one more shot at Mechanical Chaser just for the 1850 Dark Machine. There we go. No one has Raigeki, so anti-Raigeki also does nothing. No one has Summon Skull or Red Eyes Black Dragon, I think. So Black Skull Dragons just kind of exists. And then Horn of Heaven, when a monster will be summoned, you contribute a monster to negate the summon and destroy the monster. Like, it's a counter trap.
So
I would probably actually play this. It's better than two pronged.
This is playable, but I will warn you, there's some weird caveats to it.
Okay.
You can't use it as part of a chain. So if a monster special summons itself and that puts something on as a chain,
because that's already,
you can't Horn of Heaven it.
Okay.
Also, if you're special summoning it through a spell or trap effect, you can't do that either. It's very weird.
Okay.
It's because it's a when and not an if.
Okay, when. I'll keep that in mind. I mean, the chances.
So it's a good card, but it does have caveats. And then it will hit normal summons though, which is probably good enough.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's better than my two pronged. That's for sure.
If you go into if you go into Synchro Arrow, it will also negate Synchro summons.
All right. Well, hey, Horn of Heaven, good to keep in mind. And then at Ultra Rare, weighing in at like $464. My gosh. It's the Needleworm. It flips and it mills the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck to the graveyard. That's nice. I don't think we're gonna get a density of this to actually play mill, but
nope.
Sorry, does that say $464.94?
It sure does.
Yeah.
It's like
it's an
it's an ultra rare Needleworm from Tournament Pack 3. I'm sure this hasn't been yeah, Needleworm. I mean, this is not the card I want. I just want a Pot of Greed and or a Dark Elf, and I'll be perfectly happy with a Mechanical Chaser or a Horn, and that's about it. So it's at least
a pretty fair assessment, I'd say.
But it's at least better than Tournament Pack 1 or 2. So yeah, honestly, I am excited for opening packs tomorrow. I'm hoping that the matches go well, but I'm prepared to get crushed, but I'm looking forward to opening our next kind of cards and seeing what mid-November brings to the progression. We're slowly inching our way towards I think we're almost at the Gravekeepers, like the first archetypes that are really going to start, and there's going to be some really cool traps. I know Dust Shoot comes out. There's some stuff I'm really excited to get to. Like, it'll be feeling a lot less just slamming big monster bodies into each other. So it's fun. But I wouldn't have skipped, like, people have always said, like, hey, you should just skip dual monsters and start at GX. I think this is really fun to play these early ones and just also get a feel for the UI for the game and everything, because it still happens when we're playing too fast. We don't switch to battle phase and we go to click to attack, and instead it switches to defense, and we're like, shit. So we'll be slowing down and just making sure we catch those little mistakes. And like, I'm learning.
I think the reason why you get the reason why those things are said is because there's being said from the perspective of people who have played Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time.
Yeah. And I made it clear. I said the whole conceit of what we're doing is Yu-Gi-Oh. The whole point was not out of the three of us, I have played a little bit in middle school, and I played during like 2005, 2006, like since like from 2002 to 2005, like I dabbled, like I knew the cards existed. I think the last set I opened was Shadow of Infinity, Shadow of something. Anyway, the one with Demise, King of Armageddon, like that was like the last packs I kind of opened. So this is a long time ago.
I'd say that's super interesting. Me personally, I started Yu-Gi-Oh with just me and my family just opening up a bunch, and I mean like a bunch of older cards. So we started really early on with like Metal Raiders, Legend of Blue Eyes and stuff. But then I stopped playing for so long to the point where I was playing Salomon Great and
oh my gosh, yeah, that's a big time skip.
Salomon Greats and I can never remember the name of it, Sky Strikers, and it was just such a complete tonal shift
Well,
game wise.
Look,
It's
I've
funny because Yu-Gi-Oh kind of reinvents itself every so often.
So yeah, exactly. That's actually
Sure
something that
does.
is a non. I wouldn't call myself a Yu-Gi-Oh player yet, but like as someone who doesn't really play Yu-Gi-Oh, it's impressive, and it's the reason why I think the progression series interests me so much. Is the game constantly shifts and evolves, and essentially you relearn a whole new game frequently, which I can get why it might be like, you look at like the gameplay we're doing here, and then I look at like MBT explaining like Fiendsmith combo or something, and my eyes sort of glaze over because it's like a
Yeah.
50-second thing, and I'm like, I don't. Is he making up words and names? Anyway, I think it's really cool and it's exciting. I think to build on all that. So yeah, cool cards,
Re-
cool stuff, and just for the sake of
Requiem is just letting Cross change my mind.
yeah, so just for this the sake of brevity, because I'm gonna have to start uploading this video in a few days, I'm gonna cut it here. I really thank you, Grish, for jumping on at the very beginning, and then thank you to TVP and Kogane for also jumping on. It's really nice when we get multiple people in. I'm doing these
Yeah,
about once a
absolutely.
week, so obviously the next one will be the next set, and so on and so forth. So I'll always credit y'all in the video comments as a thank you for helping out the channel. So yeah, you can stay tuned. I
I
mean,
appreciate it.
the three of you can
Yep.
stay tuned for our gameplay video tomorrow, but because this video is coming out after the gameplay video, if you're watching, you need to wait a few more days till the following Sunday for your video. So thanks again. Really appreciate it. And yeah, looking forward to seeing
Yeah.
you all in the future videos.